Will Mr. and Mrs. Tooth ever actually make it to the lighthouse? Hola, señorita, ¿qué quieres? So, there's your Poxy Lighthouse. Hello, you beautiful people. It is Tooth here, Tooth Decay. It is day 2 of our adventure in Fuerteventura. So today we are going to read out. Mrs. Tooth needs, what do you need, an airband?
Yeah, because I left them at home.
She left them at home, so she needs an airband, and we want to go and grab some water and something to eat, and then we are going to head over to the beautiful island of Los Lobos. We are down at the port, just about to head over to Lobos Island. You might have noticed that I've acquired myself a tit for. Why have I got a tit for? I've got a tit for. Mrs. Tooth is laughing at me saying tit for tat. I've got myself an hat because if that sun comes out today, it is going to be baking. It's pretty grey at the moment, but it is still real warm. And here you can see all the different places selling the tickets over to Lobos. We booked ours online before we came, just because we knew we was only here for 4 days and wanted to just make double sure that we got here. But let's go and find this ferry, see where we're heading out from. Right, we are on the boat. Let's have a butcher's. There's a Mrs. Tooth down there. This is a glass bottom boat. Not going down where?
Down there. There's the last spot.
There's the glass bottom on the boat. Mrs. Tooth has categorically said not going down there. Oh look, there's a Mrs. Tooth. Hello Mrs. Tooth.
Hello, I've got to put my hat on.
Just spoke to, right at the end of the port, lovely lady, just over there in her hut, and she sends you straight across the road to this gentleman, down your pathway, up your ramp, down your stairs. And then we follow Mrs. Tooth's butt. Butt. You got to come down them again in a bit. Just have a butcher's around. Here we are, right on the front of the boat. And if we can sit here, this will be glorious, because this is our view. We'll come back when we start going. So just while we're waiting to set off, I was talking to the lady up at the kiosk, because you need a permit and authorisation to go over to Lobos Island, and I've seen quite a few people say actually this time of year you don't need it. So I thought I'd ask her, and what she said is you do need it all year round, but it isn't strictly controlled when there ain't loads of people going over there. So like today we're going over at 1 o'clock and we're not coming back till 5. She said you could go at 10 in the morning and not come back till 5 at this time of year. What it is, it's in place so that they don't have like 500 people on the island at once in the summer when it's really busy. Right, so pretty much 1 o'clock on the dot, we have just left. I'm going to film us all the way across, but you don't want to sit here and listen to me whittering on for 15 minutes, so let's speed this up. Mrs. Tooth just pointed this out to me, and so I can't take the drone up. But never mind, we can do some shots with the extension stick. We'll try and get something for you. So here we go. Here's the cans and can'ts. So you've got the pedestrian footpath, bicycle area, picnic area, no camping, no littering, no bringing in animals from the outside. I should have left you at home. Don't disturb any animals or pick any plants, no hunting. No unnecessary noise, you have to keep your mouth shut today. And no lighting fires. I know. And there's a map of the island just there. And actually they gave us a map as well. So where do you want to go, woman?
I don't know, I'll follow you.
Head for the lighthouse.
Which is where?
Have a look at these pointers. Huh? No, that's what the island's named after.
Oh.
Yes.
Don't live here anymore.
Not as far as I know. Have a look. So, just in case you didn't know, Lobos is a Spanish word for wolves. but Lobos del Mar is what the Spanish call sea lions. So while this Isla de Lobos sort of translates to Island of the Wolves, what it's actually short for is Island of the Sea Lions. Mrs. Tooth just doing a bit of reading up on it now. Tell me, Mrs. Tooth, do they still live here?
Don't look like it. The lighthouse is that way.
Is it?
Oh, you can go that way too. That's it on phone.
Let's do that then, walk up there.
Well, why is it pointing in both directions?
Well, it's 50 minutes if you go that way and 50 minutes if you go that way. It's because it's right at the north of the island.
Yeah.
It just depends if you want to go via the mountain.
Whatever way you want to go.
Right, let's go this way then. Looks like Pepper. Pepper from the pub. Scary Mary.
Oh yeah.
She was even scarier after you told her you call her Scary Mary. And then she said, what does that mean? And so I said to her, I told her what it was in Spanish.
Oh, what did you say?
Maria del Miedo.
What did she say?
She was laughing. She was like, I own this square. I've been here 40 years. This is my square. Got all these sort of small volcanic rocks everywhere. And it's almost like erosion started doing the job but never quite finished it. Right, we're coming to a T-junction. So El Puertito, which I believe is where you're able to swim, or La Calera, which is the other side of the big mountain just in the distance. So I think we're going to head towards El Puertito, and then there's a third sign up there pointing back the way we came, which is El Muelle, and that's actually where the ferry docks. So I can see people swimming here, so if I'm right, this is El Puertito.
Didn't bring any towels, did we?
No, I weren't planning on getting in the water, that's why I didn't bring them. Why didn't you bring them?
Well, I'm not planning on getting in the water.
Yeah, tiny little beach area here where you can go swimming in the sort of lagoon bit. Mrs. Tooth nearly fell over. She's got these landlocked little pools here, and I'm assuming that because the water isn't stagnant, you can see how clear it is. I'm assuming that's because at high tide it refreshes. I will have a look into that and stick something on screen if I can find out. It's absolutely beautiful. So this cost about €17 each, including we just got the ferry company to do the authorisation form. It is free, they charge you like €1 or two to do it, but it's just easier to make sure that it's all done and done correctly and that they know about it. And I think for €17, I mean, this is it's a stunning landscape, isn't it? It's very, very rugged and natural and unspoilt by man. But I think if I came to Fuerteventura and didn't come here, I'd be gutted knowing it was so close. It was like 15 minutes on the ferry, just over.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah, it's something that you just don't have access to unless you're here, isn't it? So I guess while it would have been nice to have come on a like a sunnier day when you've got clear blue skies and everything, I'm kind of glad that we didn't, because it is nice and cool and breezy. It would have been too hot, and we can feel it now, just every time the sun breaks through a little bit, it is roasting up there, and that cloud's just giving us a little bit of cover, which is kind of nice. You're right, woman. Did you nearly fall over again? Mr. Tooth nearly fell over again. No, so down that way there is another route back to El Puertito, where we saw the people swimming earlier. So I'm assuming El Faro Martino is off to the right. So it's a 25-minute walk back to El Muelle, where the ferry was. Still says 40-minute walk. It said 50-minute when we were there.
It said 50 and it was like 48 or something.
Yeah, and it still says 40-minute walk from here. But we're going to carry on regardless. Will we ever make it? There is the question of the ages, people. Will Mr. and Mrs. Tooth ever actually make it to the lighthouse? Yeah, it is really rather stunning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really rather very stunning. Lots of words that I didn't need to use, but I fucking used them anyway. Mrs. Tooth just gave me the look. I may have done, but I don't recall seeing this bridge on other videos. We look at, I think probably the best on YouTube that I've seen is Amelia Bulger. Sorry, Amelia, if I got that wrong. And I can't quite remember this, and it does look really new, the wood. So maybe this is a new addition for some reason, because you can see the wall at the side, which is much lower. And that wall has been following us along for quite a while. So I will have to do a little bit of digging and find out if this bridge is new, and I will pop it on screen now if it is. Mrs. Tooth's moaning about how far we've got to walk. We'll sit here if you want and I'll come back for you. No, come on. Tell everybody what your grandchildren call you, Mrs. Tooth.
Nanny no.
Why do they call you Nanny No?
Because I always say no.
How do you say it?
No.
Welcome to my world, folks. Welcome to my world. Oh, look. There's the famous Sarah and Amelia hut. We'll have to recreate it. Hola, señorita, ¿qué quieres? Un prosecco, un vino tinto, un vino blanco, unas gambas al ajillo. And this is actually the reason why drones aren't allowed on the island. So it's actually a protected area, but they've got a conservation order in place for the birds. There are signs as well, probably every few hundred feet, saying don't leave the trail, and those are there for a reason, folks. So I don't know if anyone's seen, certainly in Lanzarote, I don't know if it was for the whole of the Canaries, but they've just published a tourist charter, and it's 10 points on responsible tourism. So some of you might have seen that there's been, it's absolutely not anti-tourist, it's anti-management of tourists by the government. And I'm not going to get into that here. You can check out Lanzarote information or Travel On World, Mr. Travel On Dave. They've got some good videos about it, and they're far closer to the ground than we are, coming here once a year. But there are things like people visiting Timanfaya National Park, like the volcano in Lanzarote, and going off the trail and like sledding down it and stuff like that. And it just doesn't go down well, right? Especially when you look at the locals really can't afford housing now, because so many places have been bought up and turned into Airbnbs. So it's like over-tourism is a problem. Tourism isn't. They absolutely want tourists and in fact rely on tourists. But over-tourism is a problem, and that's a government problem, not a tourist or those involved in the tourist trades problem. And we still don't know if we're ever going to get to the lighthouse.
Is there even a lighthouse?
There's a lighthouse. I think I've just had a fuck that moment. No, so it looks like to get to the actual lighthouse, and it is, I can see people doing it. So you've got to go, where's my finger there? You've got to go all the way up that strip and then all the way up the mountain, little hill, whatever you want to call it, over to there. So there's your Poxy Lighthouse, we're going back. Right, come on, let's keep going. So yeah, trying to do that lighthouse. I'm trying to justify not walking up there now because I'm a lazy... Can't say that word on YouTube. You all knew what I was going to say, didn't you? Yes, you did. Don't tell me you didn't. They need two signs, don't they? They want young fit people signs and old fart signs. Well, we're not going to the mountain. That's half out that way. Says 20 minutes, 19 minutes to Elmuelle, where the port is. I hope it's right. Because now I just want to get on that boat,
So do I.
sit my arse down, get to the other side and have a beer. So you can just walk up the side of that. I can see actually some people just about there walking up. And there is where the boat pulls in. So we have made it back. So that's what, 2 hours 25 to walk around the whole thing. And you know what, if I'd known that up front, I'd have been, yeah, that's all right. But you can't tell people it's going to take that long because everyone walks at a different pace and different mobility on different surfaces. So, but that's what it's taken us. So that, folks, remember that, like, subscribe and share. So just to give you our closing thoughts then on visiting the island, it took us an hour to get back that way and an hour and a half to get down there if we went that way. So if you just want to go and see the mountain, or if you want to go and do the lighthouse, it's only an hour to go that way. But if you want the prettier walks, hour and a half down that way, really nice views. You've got El Puertito where you can go swimming as well. Just nicer overall. But yeah, 2.5 hours to walk around the whole thing. Don't regret it in the slightest. If this has been useful to you, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, share it with your friends. And for now, laters potatoes, off you pop.